Representative Molly Buck versus her challenger, Ryan Welden. Who's going to fight for gun owners and public safety in Ankeny? Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with Iowa Gun Owners. And if you live in House District 41, the north half of Ankeny, take a moment and watch this video as we break down the Second Amendment record of Molly Buck versus her challenger, Ryan Welden. Guys, the election's almost here. Everyone knows that. And we also all know that Kamala Harris is the most aggressive gun grabber at the presidential level that we have ever seen in this country. Her hatred of gun owners in the Second Amendment is now spreading to down-ballot candidates just like Molly Buck in races all across the state and frankly all across the country. The reason why this race matters so much, however, is that HD-41 is the definition of a swing district. Molly Buck won this race 2 years ago by 129 votes. It was the smallest margin in the Iowa elections in 2022. And so if there was ever an area where gun owners could stand up at election time and send a message and remind gun grabbers like Molly Buck and all of her colleagues in Des Moines that Iowans that gun owners in particular are organized and mobilized at election time, it's right now. So guys, we're going to begin with the details on Representative Molly Buck. Shouldn't be a big surprise because she is so left-wing when it comes to gun rights. Molly Buck has the endorsement of Everytown for Gun Safety, which is Michael Bloomberg's front group. So effectively, Bloomberg has endorsed Molly Buck's gun control agenda here in Iowa. And I'm going to discuss some of the bills she's voted no on later on. But what's more important than the pro-gun bills she opposes is the gun control bills she wants to push into law here in Des Moines. And chief amongst that is red flag gun seizure laws. If you haven't heard about this, it's very simple. In a state with red flag laws, if your ex-spouse doesn't like you, if your neighbor doesn't like you, maybe it's an angry coworker doesn't like you, they can call you in to the police, say you could be dangerous. The police then call the judge and say, this guy could be dangerous. And when, not if, when the judge agrees, he'll issue a seizure order and your guns are gone. But you'll notice you're never charged with a crime, you're never arrested for a crime, and never convicted of a crime. Red flag gun seizures destroy the idea of an innocent until proven guilty, that the government seized your firearms without ever having to prove you did anything wrong in a court of law. That is Molly Buck's #1 agenda item because it allows for bureaucratic, process-based gun control with no need to prove any burden in a court of law. That's red flag gun seizures. But Molly also supports a universal gun registration concept here in Iowa, whether it's universal background checks or a permit to buy firearms, both of which are being discussed here in Iowa right now. Molly Buck hates the fact that you and I can legally buy firearms from private citizens without having to get government permission. Like every good tyrant in the course of history, the idea of citizens having unregistered firearms, she can't abide that. So Molly Buck is a big proponent for universal background checks, which creates a statewide registry of firearms, which of course then gets kicked up to the federal government, and whether it's Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, or frankly, even a Republican president. We don't want, as gun owners, the federal government to know what firearms we own. That's Molly Buck's #2 agenda item. #3, she would love to confiscate our AR-15s. If she can't do that, she at least wants to ban the sale of them so nobody else here in Iowa can ever buy one again. Now, if you have an AR-15, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, go out and buy one. In fact, buy two between now and Election Day. And you'll find out the AR-15 is the best rifle in the country because it's lightweight, it holds lots of ammo, it's easily customized, and because of that, it's a great tool for self-defense, and it's a great tool to prevent tyranny. Because when an AR-15 sits in a gun safe every day, it's a reminder to the federal government that we the people in this country are well armed. And leftists like Molly Buck despise that, and she wants to confiscate them. So it's no surprise that she's been a no vote on every expansion of gun rights since her election in 2022. Namely was her no vote on teacher carry just a couple of years ago. I guess that was in HF 2586. And why somebody would vote no on a bill that lets teachers with carry permits who ask to do so. It's not every teacher, right? It's those who are asking to do so. Why someone would vote no on a bill that will let teachers defend themselves and defend our children in schools is absolutely absurd, but that's, of course, part of Molly Buck's agenda is to leave all of us vulnerable here in Iowa. So whether it's her no votes on pro-gun bills or the gun control bills she wants to force into law here in Iowa, it's pretty obvious when it comes to your gun rights, Molly Buck is a radical leftist. Now, there could be some people watching that aren't big gun people. Maybe you don't own guns, maybe you don't carry concealed, maybe you don't go hunting, it's not part of your life. And if you're asking the question, why do I care about any of this? I'll give you an answer. If we don't deal with people like, with gun control bills like this, if we don't send a message to gun grabbers like Molly Buck, eventually, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually we'll see gun control become law here in Iowa. And the kind of things that they're talking about, red flags, AR bans, gun registration, is all law today right across the river in Illinois. And anybody who has a computer or a smartphone knows exactly the real life consequences of a state where only criminals can have firearms. That's why you should care even if you're not a gun owner. That brings up Ryan Welden. Pretty much the exact opposite of Molly Buck. That's Ryan Weldon's view when it comes to the Second Amendment. Ryan Weldon surveyed 100% pro-gun with Iowa gun owners. You can see his survey on our website right now. And he supports our agenda to expand Second Amendment freedom here in Iowa. One of the bills he supports in particular is the Second Amendment Preservation Act. We call it SAPA law for short. SAPA is critical for Iowa because while we have good gun laws here, the problem we've got is that Joe Biden for the last couple of years has been trying to use our cops here in Iowa to enforce federal gun control laws. And God forbid if Kamala Harris somehow wins, she'd do the exact same thing on steroids. SAPA law protects Iowa cops from being used like that. Ryan also supports enhancing Iowa's Stand Your Ground law. So we've got Stand Your Ground law here in Iowa, passed it in 2017, but as more Soros prosecutors get elected, like we've got right here in Polk County today, we have to adapt to these new threats. And the problem that we have right now in Iowa is that if you use your firearm in a self-defense situation, in the eyes of Iowa law, we're presumed guilty. And what that means is we have to fund our own defense on our own dime. In other states, though, where the gun owner is presumed innocent, it is a lot easier to defend yourself in a court of law. We have to enhance Stand Your Ground law. Ryan Weldon agrees. He, of course, is a no on red flag gun seizures. He's a no on AR-15 bans. He wants to defend Stand Your Ground law. Ryan Weldon, 100% pro-gun. So, guys, if you're a voter in this area, if you see Molly Buck, tell her to apologize for all of her votes against your gun rights, and tell her to take and apologize also for her agenda to enforce Illinois or California or New York style gun control on all of us right here in Iowa. And if you see Ryan Weldon, thank this guy. Thank him for his pro-gun survey and for promising to be a leader in the fight for gun rights here in Des Moines. Guys, don't forget, the election is November 5, but as important as that is, don't forget October 16 is the first day of early voting here in Iowa. Guys, get out there, get educated, help other folks see this video so they have the facts as well. And let's all send a message on November 5 that Iowa stands for freedom.